2024 with Carl Anderson, VP of Engineering at Ledger, and Amir Bandeali, which is a co-CEO and co-founder of Matcha and 0x. And great, so can I get you guys to introduce yourselves briefly, starting with you, let us know where you came from, what you've been to, history in crypto.
Sure. So as I said, my name is Carl Anderson. I run software engineering at Ledger. I'm a software developer by trade, starting developing at 13. I've been a professional developer for about 20 years now. Various startups, a lot of startups in my life. And I think the two main ones were Deezer, the music streaming service. I was one of the first mobile engineers back when streaming was barely legal and mobile was just the beginning. iPad didn't exist at the time, and Nokia Symbian was still the #1 OS. But it was a wonderful journey going from a tiny little hacker company to making it mainstream streaming a thing. And then I was director of engineering at Trendline right after. Same, I went through the whole journey of startup all the way to IPO, and now I'm at Ledger for about 2 years now.
Amir, co-founded 0x in 2016 and discovered Bitcoin around 2013 while I was working at a prop trading firm. First kind of thought about it from the trading angle. It was very, very volatile, and a bunch of friends were interested in it, but quickly started to understand the value proposition of it. My actual trading job was focused on trading treasuries, so very in tune with macroeconomics, and it was kind of like peak low interest rates, very, very low volatility, and just understood how Bitcoin could be a really good inflation hedge. But soon fell down the rabbit hole and discovered Ethereum. Couldn't stop thinking about it. This technology would enable so many new use cases that we haven't thought of before. Decided to leave my job in 2016 and met my co-founder Will shortly after, and the rest is history.
Cool. Going back to what you said about working for Deezer and Trainline, what do these consumer apps have in common with Ledger, and how is it is it a different way of life for you now? Thinking about these problems?
No, actually, I think there's a lot of commonality as well. As I said, I really like that journey from the startup, bleeding edge technology up to making it mainstream. And we're going through the same cycle at the minute with Web3, where it's still niche and on the edge, but it's just a matter of time before the web adopts digital ownership more broadly. From that, there's a lot of commonalities: early adopters, tech-savvy people. I think the difference, though, with our users is that here now we're dealing with digital property, right? So it's value. So there's with that, it comes a breadth of challenges that makes it completely different from that perspective.
Now you're VP of Engineering. So what have been your main responsibilities in that role, and what do you do on a day-to-day basis?
Oh, that's a good question. I think the main responsibility is really to scale up the teams. As you know, engineering is a team sport. We're far away from the cliches of the lone developer with the hoodie in the dark, hacking. And so with that, it's really about building a culture, great tech practices, getting to scale, build a real machine able to ship high quality software. The goal again is to make Web3 really mainstream so that everybody can use it. So focus on the user, high quality. We can't compromise on security, obviously, because we're dealing with value, and then get this at scale. So I think that's really my main focus and role at Ledger.
Are there any unique challenges, working at a company that does both software and, obviously custom hardware is a very big part of Ledger as well. How do you navigate that?
So that's actually really fun, because that's the first time as well that I'm in a company doing hardware. I'm a software guy, and I'm not the one managing the hardware part, but it's been so insightful. I've been learning so much working with the hardware team. They're on very different cycles than we are in software. We can just update constantly and rapidly. So there's a lot of planning. You have to be precise and think ahead, really, I think is the difference. Much more than we have to do in software. Failure is an option, right? We'll always say fail fast, fix faster, right? not really an option in hardware, right? So they're working on it very differently from us, and it's a pleasure to be working with them.
It actually reminds me a lot of smart contract development too. You have very different shipping cadences for new smart contracts versus everything else, right? So kind of need to focus on having minimal surface area in the smart contracts, like secure upgradability and stuff like that, so that we don't need to change things too often.
That's very true.
So you actually joined Ledger in 2021, right? So that was kind of peak hype, and then you were followed with a pretty depressing bear market. What surprised you? What interested you at that point? Was it a roller coaster? Was it something you were ready for? How did you feel coming to Ledger at that point?
I think what surprised me most, all startups go through ramp up and ramp downs, right? It's normal. If it was a nice, happy path towards success, we'll all be billionaires. But what did surprise me though was how hard the pendulum swing is in crypto, right? Because everything is exacerbated. I think it's just much stronger. The scale up is much stronger. The scale down is much stronger as well. So I think that was the surprise. I think it's really beneficial as well because it has a cleansing factor as well in the industry. We saw a lot of projects that actually didn't really had footings disappear, and I think it's really good from that perspective. It's also good for us because it allows us, the noise reduces and you can pick up the signals and get to focus on what really matters. So I think to us it was really about shipping a new device, Ledger Stacks, that we're hardly working on at the minute. Actually, I have one in my pocket right there if you guys want to see it.
I've never actually seen one of these.
So obviously shipping that to market at scale, that's the top priority. Get a hardware there. I don't know if you want to see that one.
Keep this one, right?
No, absolutely not. It's a dev device. We've been working hard on scaling our technology to integrate more protocols, right? Because we know it, Web3 is multi-chain and will be and remain multi-chain. So it allowed us to really focus on that, build the right tools to developers to easily integrate on Ledger and keep going that, because there's a lot of progress that we can make in that from that perspective, and also working on the new device SDKs for wallets to be able to communicate with our devices and apps on our devices much easily and much easier. So that's going to be a key one this year. We built a brand new store as well, which is much slicker, much nicer, to be ready for the next wave, and a new developer portal to explain all technology for developers. So really all those basics, really, we were able to really focus on them and improve our technology to be ready for the next wave.
How do you balance the different types of developers? You have blockchains who want to build their application, or they want to integrate Ledger, right? But you also have dApp developers. I believe you have an app store, right? And they give custom signing flows and things like that. How do you think about those different verticals?
Well, they're all important, right? So we have several teams that are always working for those different segments of developers, because they're very different. Right? The protocols and the dApps have very different needs. They're all top priority, and we're paralyzed by having several teams always working and accommodating for them. And we've been investing heavily actually on both this year. I'm thinking we have a brand new. We used to have what we call the V1 for our dApps, for the platform SDK, which a new version of it was actually now released this year, called the Wallet API, which is available for them, and makes it much easier to integrate and build on top as a dApp. Really build on top of Ledger Live. So when you have a web app, it's just integrating. You have to include another web library, and then you can be rendered in Ledger Live, extending its capabilities, and have zero-click connect to the wallet, access to the accounts, and so making the signing experience and the connecting experience much simpler for dApp users and within Ledger Live today. And same for the protocols. There's 2 layers that you can integrate the Ledger technology stack. Obviously the signer on our devices, on the Nano, on the Ledger stack, you can build an application there. So we actually revamped our SDK there, making it easier for protocols to build their signing capabilities and their application on the device. as well as the integration in Ledger Live, so you can actually send, create an account, manage your portfolio. All that was also simplified, and we're still refactoring. I think there's a lot more progress that we can make in that area. So we'll keep going at it and to improve that area. A lot of stuff, right?
Just going back to the stacks, maybe. So, firstly, what were the motivations there? I know you've covered it kind of in your product videos in the past, but could you give us a recap of that? And maybe let us know a bit about what the future is in terms of the Nano S and Nano X. Are they going to run in parallel? Are they going to...
All right, a lot of questions here. So I think we talked a little bit about it, right? Hardware is very different from software. Those guys have to... They need a plan for the next 5 years, right? And that's pretty much what Ledger Stacks is all about. But the Nano series was started in 2016, right? So think about the phones that you had in 2016. I mean, they're really not the same devices as you have today. So it's a bit the same. 2016, there was no DeFi at the time, right? I think a small screen to approve us sending a transaction is all right. But now that we have more complex interactions with smart contracts, you want to have more screen real estate, right? You also have NFTs now, so it's really nice to be able to have, your own NFT on the cover to personalize your own wallet. So with those elements in mind, that Ledger Stacks was built, and it's built for the next 5 to 10 years. It has USB and Bluetooth as the Nanos, but it also has NFC as well, which would allow for new scenarios, right? Which we can easily think about. Right? So I think that's that. Now, about the stacks and the Nano series are here to stay as well. I think they're great as, if you're a hodler and you're not necessarily working with smart contracts, like there's a lot of us that are doing that, it's a perfect device for you. It's less than $100, right? Could be great as a backup device as well. The Nano S Plus doesn't have a battery, so you can leave it in the vault for years. And that's cool. You can then plug it back to when you need it, to actually do the trade that you need to do at that point. So I think they're very complementary and address different customers as well.
You mentioned that the stacks is maybe better for more complex smart contract interactions. Curious if you're doing anything else to help protect users from signing malicious transactions or malicious messages or anything like that.
So this is actually our number one battle at the minute, right? Security at rest, we got it. If you lose your Nano, no one's going to be able to extract your keys, right? So it's done. That device is going to die protecting your secrets. Security at use is much harder at the minute, right? You're only as secure as the smart contract you're interacting with. Sign the wrong message, or interact with a malicious smart contract. If it was built to drain your wallet, it will drain your wallet. So it is paramount that users are able to see and read and understand precisely what they're signing at the moment. So there's 2 layers to this. So I'm going to talk about the signing flow in its whole, because there's an element on the software, and then there's also an element happening on the hardware. So I think on the hardware today, there's just too much blind signing, as you say. Like there's all those hashes, and it's really like signing a blank check. Like you really don't really know what you're signing here, and so you're kind of trusting that what is it that you're seeing on the software wallet, or what the software is telling you, like yeah, I'm sending this over there, or like send me 1 ETH and then you'll get that thing, is actually going to happen. It's a pure trust. So I think this is what we need to. So right now, what we're doing with the Ledger team at ETHDenver is really connecting with everyone from the ecosystem, dApps, other wallets, other hardware wallets as well, to kind of build get a consensus of how could we get metadata that is exploitable by wallets, so that users can actually sign in a readable and understandable manner what they're doing, and so that we ban hashes, that we make sure that we always have the right magnitude and amounts and those kind of things. Because the ABI is only to get you so far, right? You can't. It's not there for our brothers and sisters, and I'm not even talking about our parents, right? So that's where we need to get to if you want to get to mainstream. So that has been a big one. But then that's not enough. That's at the signature, but I think there's a lot that can be done at the software layer, and that's with transaction simulation, It's also with blacklisting of malicious addresses, malicious contracts, and let the user know and providing them the signal that, hey, watch out, this looks dodgy. Like, are you sure you want to proceed? So things like that. So that's that. And with that, we're working with Blockade, talking with Exaget, with Blowfish, like all those guys to kind of look at that. How can we strengthen the ecosystem?
You mentioned you're going to remove blind signing or just signing hashes. Like, what is the replacement for that?
Yeah, so obviously we're not just going to remove it without providing an option. So I think the first thing is really, with the ecosystem, agree on a way to get all that metadata in a safe and trustable manner for all the actors to make it happen. We can't do all protocols at the same time, so we're going to start with EVM because it's where most of these interactions are happening today. And once we have the blueprint, we're going to go protocol by protocol. But as soon as we have the solution, we're going to stop blind signing. Right? I think that's really important because normally when you see that you need a blind sign, it should be a signal that it's probably a scam. But today, because we don't have the technology, and it's not quite there yet, we actually are used because it's a necessary evil. Like, to actually get that airdrop or to achieve and use that DApp, you actually have to blind sign. So it doesn't strike as, it's not surprising, it's not scary to a user as we're used to doing it. So that's what we need to change. We need to change that habit. So as soon as we have the solution, we're gonna stop it, and then that will force the entire ecosystem to kind of move on and make blind signing a thing of the past. But we have to do it all together. I think that's really our message.
So I guess this touches upon something else, which is generally Ledger will put out firmware updates and software updates, and to what experience, how should a user interpret those, and should they always be like updating their firmware, and what kind of experiences are they getting from it? Are they just getting security? Are they getting Ledger Recover, for example? That was a controversy last year, but misunderstood. So tell us about updates, software updates, firmware updates, and what's the benefit?
Yeah, so that's super important because, well, first of all, security is not static, right? You're in an environment, so something that was secure in 27 is probably not secure in 2024, right? So you need to update from that perspective. Then also, we're not in a static environment, right? Protocols change. I'm thinking about, I don't know, you want to have Taproot for the Bitcoin community, our new signing mechanism for HTTP blockchains and protocols. So just for that reason, we need to be able to update the software that is on the hardware wallet. And then new features as well for new experiences. We were talking about blind signing. It means that we're going to have to send signed metadata to the hardware wallet. It means also that the hardware wallet will need to have the capability to parse smart contracts. So we'll have to code all those things and provide all those features. And so the only way to do it is actually to update it. And by the way, this is a world first, and I think we're the only ones doing this, updating over-the-air a secure element. No one else does that. Like your bank, if it needs to update your credit card, it's just gonna, they just expire, and they're gonna have to have a new credit card that is actually sent to you, right? Send you your passports, right? They can't update passports. So I think we're the only company with that kind of technology out there, and I think that's critical because that's the only way that we can ensure security through the test of time. Right? So I think people are not aware of it, but it's not just a regular chip, right? A regular chip is great for computations, not to store secrets. What we're using is secure elements. And these secure elements are laser proof. If you send the wrong instructions to them, they're going to wipe out. All this to protect your secrets all the time. And banks and governments have been using that to store their secrets in our credit cards and in our passports. But we've been using the same technology revved up to the max to actually store your secrets, like Ledger users' secrets at the service of self-custody.
Mm-hmm. So is there anything for a user to fear? Say, Amir, I don't think you've updated your firmware in a while, right? So would there be a reason not to update your firmware?
I can't see one, to be honest, but and again, we also have we have this principle inside that is the Ledger unplugged, how we call it, is that if Ledger disappears, your wallet still need to be functioning. And so that's why our wallets work with MetaMask and Rabby and Phantom and Soulflare and all the different wallets out there, so that your seed is safe in there, and even if we disappear, they'll be gone. But at the time, we won't be doing firmware, so we'll find another way to do it, I guess. But yeah, so I think what I meant to say here is like, please do your firmware updates, right? Because it means that then security at rest is not necessarily a thing anymore, because someone could maybe extract, because maybe someone will find somewhere a flaw which will have not been corrected because you wouldn't have had the firmware update. So dangerous. But up to you.
Okay, so we're coming up to time, and I don't really want to bore you with the logistics maybe of Ledger, or ask you too much about the logistics of planning for that. So what would you like people to know about Ledger, and like the intricacies of producing hardware and software all at the same time that we haven't already covered?
That's a good one. I think we covered it all. I think to me, we talked about how important a secure element is, and it's not just a regular chip. It's a chip that is made to protect our secrets, and with that, makes it comes with a lot of challenges. And I think what we haven't talked about and touched about is that I think Ledger is the only company that we actually built an OS on top of the secure element, so that actually developers in the world can then build in regular C or Rust their own application on top of our OS, right? And that's actually crazy when you think about it. That's like that didn't exist before, and that's how we achieve that level of security. I think that's one key takeaway I'd love to share with everyone, for sure.
I guess that's just one of many things that you've done, like custom specifically for the Ledger devices. So it's good to share. Thank you very much for coming to join us, and I really hope you get time to enjoy the rest of the conference. I know you both have busy schedules, you especially, or you as well, and Charles as well. And so, yeah, thank you for joining us, and hope to see you again.